dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
Hello grade 5. Welcome to our social lesson. Today this is our second lesson. My name is Teacher Eric. Our lesson today is about transportation. Previously we had looked at communication. We looked at how people used to communicate both traditionally and in modern times. But initially we had looked at the meaning of communication, where we said that it is the exchange of information and message between two or more people. We looked at the traditional and modern forms of transportation, communication, sorry. Now, today in our lesson of transportation, we shall first of all look at the meaning of transportation. In your own words, what do you think transportation is? Whenever you take a pen, you carry a pen, move it from one place to another, from one table to another. Whenever you take your books, your bag, and take it to the office, when you take your book to the office for the teacher to mark, you are transporting, you are carrying something. In a nutshell, what we are talking about is the movement or the carrying of goods, people, and even animals from one place to another. And therefore, transportation, as it is asked here, it is simply meaning that it is the carrying of people. It simply means the carrying of people and goods from one place to another. The carrying of people and goods from one place to another. How many types of transportation do we have? There are two types of transportation, especially as we talk about generally, globally, and more specific in Somaliland. Now, these two types of transportation are traditional means of transportation and modern means of transportation. When we talk about traditional, we mean those that were used anciently, or those that are outdated, those that are not preferred. Right? So, traditionally, how do you think people used to move from one place to another? How do you think people used to carry goods from one place to another? Goods are also known as items or things. How did they use to transport them? How did they use to carry them from one place to another? Now, traditionally, people used to carry things or goods on we have here donkey, and some of you, I know, you may not be knowing, or you may not have seen a donkey, but this is how a donkey looks like. It carries goods on by pulling either a cart, or sometimes goods can be placed on its back. So it transports goods from one place to another. Good. Another means of transport, traditional means of transport, how people used to carry goods, is by using a horse. You know a horse? Yeah, some of you call it faras. A horse. That is a horse. It was used to transport goods from one place to another. Then the third one, oxen. Oxen are animals that carry things from one place to another. But how do they appear? How are they like? How do they look like? Oxen are here. Typically, oxen are just like male cows, yes, but they have been made in a way that they can be used to carry heavy things, heavy goods. They are strong. Oxen are very strong. They can carry very heavy goods from one place to another. As you can see here, they are pulling a cart, and it is actually an oxen cart that's being pulled. This cart, on top of it, there are goods. There are goods on top of this cart here. This cart has got goods carried on it. The arrow here shows that the cart, on top of the cart, there are some goods being transported, being carried from one place to another. Good. Now, apart from the oxen, I think you also should be knowing that people also used to carry things on their backs or on their heads as they moved with them from one place to another. Good. Now, what about the modern means of transportation? In present day, the modern society, people use various means to transport goods from one place to another. And there are three major means of transportation in the modern society. We have land transportation, we have sea or water transportation, and we have air transportation. Now, here they are. In modern society, or modern forms of transport include land transportation, the land. That means they can include the trains and the road transport and the railway transport, where we have the cars, lorries, buses, all of them. And we have sea transportation, which include some things. Sea transportation may include some things like we have here we have boats. We also have ferries and ships, right? While for air transport, you know, we have the helicopters. We also have jets, among others, and even the parachutes. For land transportation, here we said already initially that we have railway transportation and also the road transportation. On the road is where now we have vehicles moving on the road, the cars. But on the railway we have trains, those long trains that move on the railway line. We shall be looking at them later. Now, as we proceed, look at that. Land transportation includes road and railway transportation, like we had said initially. And a picture there appearing on our screen shows those large trucks, the lorries that carry goods from one place to another. The transit goods, they carry very heavy loads of goods from one place to another over long distances, but on the land, right? We also have a train. How does a train look like? Where does it move? A train moves on a railway line. Now, a railway line here, a railway line has the line itself is here, and then it has those rails. So a train moves on this rail. This is a railway line. It is a railway line. You must have seen it. It is usually very strong. It's made very strong using steel, and is actually a very strong metal, very hard metal, not easy to break. So a railway line is here. A train moves on a railway line. Now, here, as you can see, a train, how does it look like? There it is. There's a train moving on a railway line. It is also a modern means of transport. Most of the modern means of transport were introduced into Africa and into Somaliland like 100 years ago. We have also a motorcycle. A motorcycle, here it is. Most of you have seen a motorcycle. It's here, commonly called a motorbike. There it is, a motorcycle. It is also a modern means of transport. It carries goods and even people from one place to another. Good. Air transport. When we talk about air transport, it is the quickest means of transportation in Somaliland. It involves aeroplanes which fly in the air so that nothing can stop them, nothing prevents them. It is in fact the quickest means of transportation in Somaliland. So if you are asked next time which one is the quickest means of transportation in Somaliland, then aeroplane or air transportation is the quickest means of transportation. So class, as we sum up our lesson today, we have looked at transportation, and we have said that transportation is the movement of people, goods, and even animals from one place to another. We have looked at the two major types of transportation. One, we said we have traditional means of transportation and modern means of transportation. Traditionally, we said that people used to carry goods on donkeys, horse, and sometimes also on their backs, and even using the oxen. Well, what about modern transportation? We have today in our lesson said that for modern transportation, people have developed ways of transporting goods in a much easier and faster way. Modern transportation was introduced about 100 years ago, and some of the major modern ways of transporting goods include land transportation, air transportation, sea transportation. Good. That is marking the end of our lesson today. Thank you for watching and have a nice time.